Yo, what's up guys? Back on some Modern Warfare 3 today. So it turns out, I think only a few hours ago, or maybe yesterday. So look, only a few hours ago, Ubisoft actually announced that XDefiant. For anyone that doesn't know what XDefiant is, it's basically Ubisoft's version of Call of Duty, right? It's literally just like classic Call of Duty arcade shooter. They've added their own operators from separate Ubisoft games, like there's Watch Dogs characters in this, and there's Far Cry characters. But essentially, it's just like a classic arcade shooter, and it's free to play. So it looks like from April 19th to the 21st, they're actually gonna do another test session. Now, this isn't the first time they've done one of these. They've actually done a few already. This game was actually supposed to come out last year. At least that's what they were saying. A bunch of people that were working on Call of Duty games ages ago, they've moved onto this and they've been developing this game. And I don't remember what they were saying before, but I think this game was supposed to come out mid last year or like third quarter-ish. I don't know. It was like a whole thing. So previously, they've already done a few public test sessions. I've played a couple. Like, I was so hyped for this game when it came out. Kind of like what Multiverses did. They dropped the game for a while. People were really liking it. Keep in mind, this was at the time of like Call of Duty was in like its dry spot. Like, you know how it is. People get the game, they're like, oh, this one is the best one. They play it for another few weeks, they're like, oh, this shit is so ass. So in that sweet spot, they dropped XDefiant, and like people were really liking it. Call of Duty over the years has kind of had its own identity crisis, if that makes sense. Like Call of Duty now compared to like 7 or 8 years ago is not the same thing. They started their foundation on like this first person arcade shooter, and it kind of turned into like a more realistic take. I'm talking about MW 2019. Like there's a lot of good stuff that came from that game. I have a love-hate relationship with that game. Like there's a lot of good stuff that came from it, but they tried like so much that just like it's really not Call of Duty essentially. I don't know, it's just really weird. The guns and movement were probably like the best thing, right? That's what everyone's like. That's like the highlight that everyone remembers when they think of that game. That's like the best movement we've ever had. The guns felt great. The graphics looked incredible. That's like one of the best looking games we've ever had. But there was some dog shit, bro. Oh my god. They got rid of like the classic mini-map, which like you really don't have to do that at all. The map designs were really questionable. A lot of the maps were just like fucking huge for no reason. Almost like a Battlefield game. The game promoted a lot of like more camping and like tactical play, like kind of Rainbow Six Siege-ish. A lot of people like to camp in that game, and the whole incentive of that game was just play slow and kind of just play more cautiously, if that makes sense. Where normal Call of Duty is like you run at each other, you shoot and you die. That's just always how it's been. So ever since like then on, games have like not really been the same. MW3 did pretty well though. I think people are gonna look back at this game like more fondly than it is right now, because they've done like a lot of stuff right, but the huge issue with this is just like it's kind of recycled. It was just like a huge cop out. I just went on like a whole tangent. But the point I was trying to make was in that dry spot of Call of Duty, XDefiant came in and it brought back this whole love of the arcadey side of first person shooters, right? Where you just like run at each other and you die and respawn. When I'm telling you, people were like, this game is gonna be the Call of Duty killer. Like people were that confident. Personally, I loved it. A lot of people were trying to think of it as like a Call of Duty replacement. I don't think anything's gonna ever replace this game. The only thing that's gonna kill Call of Duty is just like itself. I've been through the lows and I'm still here. Like the only way this game is gonna die is literally if they do it to themselves. But people were like really pushing it. People were like, this is the one that's gonna kill it. This is gonna replace Call of Duty. I feel like me personally, I kind of see it as like a whole separate thing. Especially at this point in time, comparing COD and XDefiant is like apples and oranges. Does that make sense? Like I guess they're both shooters and whatever, but like it's not really comparable. It's not the same. They started off as one thing. It's just too different now to compare. So this must have been like, I don't remember how long it was ago now. Like it would have been last year, or like it was either last year or 2022 that it dropped this game for like a while. I don't remember how long it was, maybe like a week and like a bit, like 2 weeks. And everyone was pretty excited for it. They had this whole roadmap, what they were gonna do, like seasonal content, battle passes, whatever. I don't know. I had this whole idea of what they were gonna do. How the fuck did I miss that guy? They had this whole thing planned out, and the game had a release window that they were like super confident on, I guess, because like I'm not very sure what happened, but they couldn't go forward with the game for whatever reason, and they had to keep working on it. Everyone was like, oh cool, that's fine. Because the original idea was like the game was supposed to drop last year when this Call of Duty was going to come out. Everyone wanted it to come out before this, I think, so that we didn't have to play this, because everyone thought it was going to be ass. Like, to be honest, this game isn't that bad. For a multiplayer, this game's pretty good. They delayed whatever the release window was going to be, and now people were hoping. They were like, okay, it might come out after this game. It might come out after MW3, and then we get to play MW3 for a bit and then switch over to XDefiant. And then after, for whatever reason, they started delaying the game like a whole bunch. Like there were more issues that were coming out. Keep in mind, I'm probably like butchering everything right now. This is just like of what I'm remembering. So I could be like completely wrong, but they had a release window for last year, and then they just kept delaying the game over and over again, and that killed the hype so bad. People that were really excited for this game were like, is this shit gonna come out like at all? It's still like that now until I guess like 12 hours ago. People didn't even know if this game was gonna come out still, because they were like, oh, we're gonna drop it soon, and then they didn't drop it, and they're like, oh, that was a thing, but we're gonna drop it soon, and then they didn't drop it. Everyone just kind of gave up, which is understandable. I also feel like it's kind of a Ubisoft thing. Like, you know how Ubisoft is. Like, I'm not really surprised, but at the same time, like, this game has a lot of potential coming for it. Like, me personally, I'm still excited for it. I'm probably like fucking delusional or some shit, I don't know. But, like, it was a good game. It was literally, if they stick with what they had, it's literally gonna be like so fun. The only way they can fuck it up is they just start like changing a bunch of unnecessary stuff they didn't need to change. The post-launch content is just like really big, really underwhelming. They had a bunch of good stuff going for them. The movement was like bare bones enough that it was like a classic arcade shooter, but it wasn't like restrictive. Like, you can do a bunch of stuff. I remember you can like, you can bunny hop a little bit, you can like strafe in the air. There was kind of like a skill ceiling in a way, but it wasn't so crazy or like so bare bones that it's fucking like absurd. Guns felt great. Had like a decent selection of weapons from just the beta or the alpha test, whatever they did. So that was pretty good. Like, assuming if it's a free-to-play game, they're just gonna add new guns every season or whatever. Guns in the game felt great. Sniping felt great. Maps were really good as well. I'm not gonna lie. Maps were like surprisingly really good. I'm telling you, bro, those Call of Duty devs, like, they know what they're doing. From what I remember, a bunch of them were like 3-lane maps. They looked great. They played great. They weren't too big. They were like just the perfect size. Spawns made sense. They even had like their own mastery camera grind as well. There was like a platinum skin and a gold skin. I'm telling you, if this game just sticks with what they had already and just branch off that foundation that they've built, XDefiant literally has so much potential. But the moment they start second guessing themselves and they like don't know what the fuck's going on, then like it's just going downhill, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still really excited though. Like, I believe this game can succeed if they really put the time and the effort in to make it good. I'm also more in favor of them just like needing to delay it as much as possible. If it's an issue of them needing to work on it longer to make it the best version that it is, then of course I'm gonna be in favor for them delaying it and it's coming out like a lot later than it's supposed to. But if it's being delayed in an issue of they don't know what the fuck they're even doing with the game, then like, bro, this shit's a wrap. Like, we're fucking cooked. I don't know, man. I'll get to play it again and see how I feel. Maybe like my opinion will change, but maybe they've done a bunch of like stuff and it's not really the same as it was before. I don't know. I'm for sure gonna make a video on it, by the way. When is the game coming out? Like, it was 19th to the 21st at 10 AM PT. I'm pretty sure that's like on a Saturday for me. So on like Friday or Saturday, probably expect an XDefiant video and we'll see if it's still holding up. I'll just be here patiently waiting. I just need something else to play, dude. Like, come on.